Hi, I'm Mike Papantonio, and this is America's Lawyer. Meta is once again in trouble after it was revealed that they're allowing ads for illicit drugs on both Facebook and Instagram. And now lawmakers want answers about why that's happening. And President Biden gave a moving speech to the Democratic convention this week, but reports say that he doesn't have much love left for the Democratic Party after they pushed him out. All that and more. It's coming up. Don't go anywhere. America's Lawyer starts right now. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg pledged earlier this year that his platform would do a better job protecting children. But it turns out that wasn't exactly true, and it never happened because of both Facebook and Instagram have been allowing advertisements for illegal drugs to be placed on their platforms. I've got Ring of Fire's Farron Cousins with me to talk about this. Don't get me started on the topic of Meta algorithms and their ad system. But go ahead. We got to talk about this. There's so much more than this part.
This is it's utter insanity at this point. And what lawmakers have said, you got a group of, I think, 19 lawmakers that are demanding answers from Zuckerberg and the rest of the leadership at Meta as to why there have been hundreds of ads between Facebook and Instagram of people, for drug dealers. They're selling cocaine, they're selling fentanyl, they're selling heroin, and they're just running these ads. Facebook and Instagram are approving them and saying, yeah, sure, it's fine. You go click on this ad, go buy your cocaine if you want to. We don't have a problem with that here at Meta, but God forbid you try to actually put an ad out for something that could save people's lives, then you got a real issue on your hands.
Yeah. Well, there's a grand jury probe. And you know what? If I was the prosecutor on the grand jury probe, I can promise you I would get a bill on this one. And you know what? The thing about it is we think, okay, well, this isn't really Meta. This is some dark web, right? Oh, the drugs are only, no, they're not. The drugs are sold on Meta. As you point out, cocaine, heroin, you name it, it's available on Meta. Just Facebook, you can find it. Instagram, you can find it. Democrats are strong on this, man. They're going after them, and they should. I mean, the Democrats are raising hell along with about a half a dozen, from what I can see, Tim Walberg from Michigan, Castor from Florida. They're leading this up in a really strong kind of way. I haven't heard a good excuse. Have you?
No.
I mean, I haven't heard anything other than the same thing we hear, oh, it's the algorithms. Okay, let me tell a quick story here to put this in perspective. Last week, we put out a story that told about Johnson & Johnson killing women with the product that they were making, baby powder that had asbestos in it and a whole host of other bad chemicals. Killed women, a horrible death with cancer, okay? We put that out on Facebook, and even though there has been half a dozen trials where the jury came back and said, hell yes, this stuff killed those women, even after 11 judges said, hell yes, this stuff killed women, we were told we couldn't put the ad out there, we couldn't put the message out there because it didn't reach their standards, okay? Didn't reach their standards. This was a story about a corporation killing women where the proof is overwhelming. Nobody's even asking questions about it anymore. Yes, it kills women. So they told us, oh, we can't do that. You know what really happened? Johnson & Johnson called them. They complained and they said, take this off the air. And that's what happened. But here you've got Meta, you've got Instagram and Facebook that are selling drugs that, oh, by the way, are causing overdoses. They have case after case. Here's Elijah Ott, 15-year-old. Case that they're using is kind of the headline case here. Bought his drugs from Instagram and overdosed. And when they were approached by it, it was like, oh, gee whiz, it's not really us. No, it is really them. And Zuckerberg knows exactly what's happening. Management knows exactly what's happening. And we're so damn tired of hearing our algorithms did it. Hire enough people to make this work. Isn't that what they do?
Yeah, and just to kind of build upon your story there, it's not like this was being run as an ad either. This was just a promotion to allow it to reach more people as an educational FYI piece, just to educate people like, hey, here's what's happened with this case. Here's where it stands so far. Here's what's happening with their so-called bankruptcy. That's it. It was an educational, informational piece. And Facebook Meta said, no, this somehow violates our standards.
Do you know why? Because the people they have doing it are so frigging stupid.
Yeah.
That they have no life experience. They probably don't even read news like that. And so these idiots, you know, I don't know what their ages are, but they're people that don't have any notion at all about what's happening around their world. And so they look at it, they get a call from Johnson & Johnson, said, damn it, take this down or we're going to sue you. And they take it down. There's nothing to sue. I got to tell you something. This is just an example of how dysfunctional social media is becoming. And this story right here, they're going to break some eggs on this story.
I hope they do. I mean, this is far more serious than I think people realize what's happening here. The fact that it was allowed to go through it all, let alone more than 450 instances that the Wall Street Journal alone found, 450 different advertisements for illegal drugs.
Guardian, Wall Street Journal, a whole host of them are finding these stories, and Meta continues to do business just like this. Now, we're going to post this article. We're going to post this story. Matter of fact, we're going to promote this story on their own site. I'm anxious to see what they do with it. What idiot, that has no world experience is going to make the decision, gee, that's slanderous, we can't say that. They're lying, like that's not true. Because they don't have enough life experience and world experience to even know what the hell is happening around them. Harvard has decided that they will not be removing the Sackler name for several reasons from their building after years of pressure from the families of victims of opioid deaths. Other universities, other museums all over the world didn't hesitate to remove the Sackler name. But Harvard, well, in their ivory tower, they decided that they simply don't care. They're above the fray, right?
Yeah. Come on down to Sackler Hall. Come to the Sackler Museum over here at Harvard. And you have, just countless these families of the people who died from people who overdosed on opioids, been begging the university for years, just take the guy's name off it. Arthur Sackler, his name is on multiple buildings at Harvard. And they said, please, this is now a monument to our child's death, and you're honoring it, and this is disgusting. Just take the name off.
This is their own students. This is their own graduates who have enough sense to have a moral compass. Yeah. A moral compass that says, look, Harvard, you're already in a demise. I mean, they're in a total demise right now. Recently. Whether it's, you hear about 2020 where you've got the cheating scandal, and they're finding that, these kids that are supposed to be so bright are actually taking the actual exam at home because they have a copy of it, Or the medical school where they're falsifying data in the medical school, and they're trying at the Dana-Farber medical school, the cancer center right there. They're actually falsifying data is what these reports are. And these people are being caught doing that. Or the issue of plagiarism. My God, when the university president has to resign because of plagiarism, and then story after story comes out of Harvard plagiarism stories, you start going, this is a university that is in total demise right now. They are just spinning down the toilet, and nobody seems to care. This is just another story here, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And Harvard gave what I think is probably one of the dumbest excuses we've ever seen, because the buildings are named, as they point out, after Arthur Sackler. Well, Arthur Sackler died a few years before Purdue Pharmaceuticals actually came up with OxyContin. So technically, he didn't do it. So we're going to leave his name. So you families, you're grieving. Oh, we lost our students. Oh, that's sad. But this is a different Sackler, so it's okay. It's not. It's the same guy who started the company that did this.
I mean, you had 150 people every day dying in this country because of what the Sacklers did. They created a scam. They created something that they knew was no different than any other narcotic. They put it on the market. They spent billions of dollars convincing doctors that it was different. They even went as far, Farron, as creating their own metrics. It was the face, the smiley face, the not so happy face, the sad face, scale 1 to 10 that they created. And they told doctors, you must do this, you must use this scale or you're going to be sued. Now, full disclosure, I handled the cases against all the other distributors. I mean, we settled that case for $52 billion. And you had Sacklers that thought they were going to skate from it, okay? They declared bankruptcy. They got gazillions of dollars and they declared bankruptcy. And the court said, hell no, you don't have bankruptcy. The Supreme Court said, hell no, you don't have bankruptcy protection. So we're going after them with a vengeance right now. And we've just started cranking up that case. But if you look at our results from McKesson, AmerisourceBergen, Cardinal, CVS, name them. We went through them and we collected, at this point, paying into to try to solve this problem where they're setting up institutions for rehab. They're setting up guidelines on how people can use or should not use opioids. They're doing what they should have done years ago when the media was ignoring this because pharma was spending so much money advertising on their channel. But now this $52 billion is at least a start. And we're not done. We're not done. And Sackler, buddy, they are absolutely right within our radar. But, when you've got a university that has this kind of checkered history, you don't just say everything's okay. The last one was where the Jewish kids were suing them there at the university because they were being physically attacked. They were being harassed. They couldn't even go to class. And so they're being sued, and friends of mine are bringing that lawsuit. And the guys bringing that lawsuit, the women bringing that lawsuit, it's going to be a bad day for Harvard if they don't settle that one.
Well, I do think just one more thing about this that I want to point out is there was a great quote because the Louvre Museum, world famous museum, they had Sackler's name on one hall and they took it off because they said, oh, hell no, we're not going to be associated with that. And there was a quote where somebody had said, do you think you're better than the Louvre? And no, Harvard, you are clearly not better than the Louvre.
And you are going down the drain by the day, it looks like. According to multiple new reports, President Biden is still fuming behind the scenes about his friends in the Democratic Party pushing him out. His anger is mostly directed at Nancy Pelosi, but he's also angry with Obama and many, many other people that he felt like he was betrayed by. Pick the story up.
Yeah, this to me is a bit of a weird one because for Biden to sit anywhere right now and be angry about where the Democratic Party is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. He should be able to see the writing on the wall with this massive Harris and Walz surge that this country has seen over the last couple weeks. He should know, okay, people don't like me. And what's really great about it is that there is this one quote that says, Biden views Pelosi as ruthless and willing to set aside long-term relationships in order to keep her party in power. So he's mad that, we had a friendship. How dare you put the good of the country ahead of our friendship? That to me was such a ridiculous thing because Pelosi did the right thing here for the first time in a long time.
Well, you look how long they resisted, Farron. Okay, how many shows did we do where we said, okay, what the hell? When are you going to make your move? So these people did what they had to do. It might have saved the Democratic Party. If you're looking at the polls now, they're in the fight. It ain't over by any means, but they're in the fight. And so that would have never happened with him staying. And then the other side of it, I guess this is Pelosi's way to say make nice. She wanted to put his face on Mount Rushmore. And so that probably ain't going to happen. But it was Pelosi's way of saying, I'm sorry. These folks did what they had to do. He has no reason to be angry about it. As a matter of fact, had he done what he should have done to begin with, it never would have come to that.
And what's really interesting to me is there was a poll that came out about a week and a half ago, and it's so far been my favorite poll because it showed that one of the big factors in Harris's, polling advantage is because what she's done is she has won over the double haters. And a month or two ago, you and I did a segment about the double
Yeah,
haters.
yeah.
An enormous amount, millions of people who hated Biden and hated Trump. They wanted quite literally anybody else. And when he dropped out, those double haters said, oh,
Yeah, I can live with it.
well, I guess I'm a single hater now. And the poll shows that they overwhelmingly moved to Harris. So yes, he himself personally was dragging that Democratic ticket down. And I still honestly don't think he understands
that. Do you remember
that.
all the criticism we got?
Yep.
Oh my God, the hate we got.
That quieted down recently.
That quieted down recently, you're right. And they saw, well, maybe they were right when they were beating the hell out of Biden.
I mean, we've been telling them for a year to do this.
No question. Donald Trump's allies are growing increasingly concerned about his campaign, with some who are close to the former president saying that it's almost like he's trying to lose this election. There's no doubt that his campaign is faltering. Whether it can change it, it's up to him. You know, it's really up to him. But this petulant child thing that's going on is really hurting him. I mean, we kind of accept that that's the way he's going to do things all the time. I mean, that's a good shot. but I mean, he's going over. Why not talk about policy, right? Compare his policy to Harris's policy is what his advisors are telling him. Instead, he wants to make up names like a fifth grader child. It's always been his MO, right?
Well, and that's what's so weird about it is, none of this is unexpected. But at least in the past, he had, whether you agreed with these ideas or not, he had things he would say that also sounded like policy.
Presidential.
Build the wall. Let's, stop the immigrant from coming over here. And that was, to a degree, that is technically a policy. And it is something that obviously in 2016 and 2020, his base rallied around that idea. But he's not even doing anything close to that anymore. He's just out there saying, well, the images of people at her rallies, those are fake. Let me try to test a new nickname for her this week because the other ones didn't work.
I mean, even the nicknames, you look at it and you just go, what the heck?
Kamala.
Kamala. I mean, and then he says, his response is, I know what I'm doing. Hush. I know what, that's literally what he's saying right now. So I don't know. There's some question about whether he has PTSD on the attempted assassination.
I've seen that. And honestly, that makes sense. If that is what the campaign wanted to go out there with a message of, that actually may work at this point to say, listen, the guy was a half an inch away from having his head blown off on live TV. That's going to mess with anybody. So give him time, give him space. We're going to right the ship. But he's put what I think is just the dumbest people possible in charge of his campaign because he doesn't reward intelligence or capability. It's about loyalty.
It's apeism, I call it apeism. Well, okay, here you've got, for example, why do you go after Brian Kemp? What did that do in the big picture? He was angry at Kemp because Kemp didn't do what he wanted to do, didn't do his bidding. So he makes an attack there. He attacks everybody rather than just saying, look, stop it. Hush, you idiot. Start talking about policies. You can talk about policies, but this fifth grade attack of everybody who's not his friend has just become, it's like a petulant child. It's like Frank Luntz says, shut up, and go talk like a president. I don't know that he's capable of doing it.
I don't think at this point in his life he is at all.
Yeah.
And it's also, what's so weird about it is remember in 2020, towards the end stretch there, his campaign was starting to do a little worse. So what did he do? He finally said, let me bring in an actual Republican that knows what they're doing. He brought in Karl Rove. Because we sat here and talked about that at the time.
Exactly.
It didn't help him to the degree he thought it would, but he did it a little too late.
Well, they know he's still well in striking distance. There's nothing going on out there that he's going, oh my God, it's over. That's why the advisors need to advise, but I don't know if you can advise him. That's the problem.
No, he's 78 years old. He is set in his way. And back in 2016, this bullying, this name calling, that worked. He got past Hillary Clinton, threw her off her game with nothing more than these insults. But he saw the success of it one time and thought, well, okay,
this works.
This is what I am.
Let me do it again.
And it's not sticking.
Look, listen to him talk. I mean, very, very Very, very, very. This is very, I mean, it's like a fifth grader. And so you take that and you say, okay, well, why should we expect anything else? But he's killing himself, okay? He's taken an election that's his to lose, really. I still think it's his to lose. But if you look at it at this point, if he keeps this up, it's over, man.
Well, and a month ago, November was going to be a bloodbath for the Democrats.
Yeah.
I mean, probably losing the Senate, definitely
Yeah.
not getting the House, and of course losing the presidency.
Yeah.
And because of just the way he is, not listening to smart people, because the smart people are out there. They're on Fox News every
they
day.
are. They're telling him,
on
"Shut
social
up."
media.
You know,
they're texting him saying, just stop it.
I know. You can't help. You can't turn that around.
Yeah.
2 elderly lawmakers suffered very serious age-related health emergencies last week, both requiring hospitalization. In spite of their poor health, both of these men are running for re-election because it seems like the thing to do. And because all of these people that you see up here on the screen are old as hell. Now, I always get, Pat, how old? I ain't that old. And oh, by the way, and I'm not running for office, you know? But so the point is this. This is such a big money maker, isn't it? Politics is such a big money maker for these people. You know, some of them went in and they had a moderate amount of money. Hell, they're multimillionaires now. They stay in it for the money, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And you would think if you've been in it for 30 or 40 years and you haven't made enough money to retire yet, yeah, then something's wrong with you.
Yeah, you're really
But look, you've got Steny Hoyer, who last week gets hospitalized because he had a mild, as they call it, but a stroke. And okay, he's in the hospital for a few days, gets out, and I'm still running for re-election. 85 years old, obviously having age-related health problems. I'm not going anywhere. Well, I think God has other plans for you, but okay.
Is it just a need for power and acceptance? Are these people so unsure of themselves and their own skin that they can't just do what, step aside?
I think there's definitely a psychological component. It's not just about the money. There is something fundamentally broken in a lot of these people's brains that force them to say, no, I need this in my life. I need this kind of approval. I need people to know that I'm important because something is broken in them.
It's as many Democrats as it is Republicans. I mean, and it's got to be, there is something broken. I really think that's part of it. They just can't be comfortable in their skin. They can't be comfortable without that attention that they get, I guess. Maybe they go to the local restaurant and everybody pats them on the back. Congratulations, you're running again. Some of these people run 15 and 16 times, and they're still there, and we still allow it, and you still actually, you know what? You still have people out there that say, under no circumstances should we have term limits.
And then if we put a challenger in any of these races, oh my God, you've betrayed the party.
Yeah.
How dare we elect somebody in their 50s, just a young whippersnapper, as opposed to this octogenarian.
The safe seat.
Yeah,
It's a safe seat mentality, right?
Who's got one foot in the grave.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and it's ridiculous that they're saying, I'm still in this race.
Yeah, it is a sad story, isn't it? Thanks for joining me, okay?
Thank you.
That's all for this time, but all of these segments are going to be posted right here on this channel in coming weeks, so make sure you're subscribed. I'm Mike Papantonio, and this has been America's Lawyer, where we tell you stories every week that corporate media won't tell you because their advertisers won't let them. If they tell this story, they're going to lose the advertising dollars. Or their tribal politics won't allow for it. If they're too Republican and they don't color within those lines, they got a problem. If they're too Democrat and they don't color within those lines, they got a problem. Well, just to be clear, we're not beholden to corporations or certainly not political parties. We'll see you next time.
That it had helped dirty money flow through its branches around the world, including at least 800...
Plaintiffs allege that the defendants provided money and medical goods to terrorist groups Hezbollah and Jaish al-Mahdi.
This is a well-organized, business for these individuals that carry out these attacks. Terrorism is a business, and they run it like a business.
They knew about what was going on for a decade. They absolutely, no question about it, knew that HSBC was washing money. They had every reason to understand it was for terrorism and it was for drug cartels. Took no action whatsoever.
These banks are involved. Their accounts are connected, and they're using them to mask the transactions. The more complicated they can make the transactions, the more distance they can put between the bad guys and the seemingly legitimate purpose of these funds.
They pay $1.9 billion, which is a drop in the bucket compared to what they've made, and nobody goes to prison. These CEOs, these bankers that made this decision, they're safe at home. They know what they've done. It's resulted in the death of Americans, contractors and soldiers, not just hundreds, but thousands. And we look the other way because they don't look like criminals. The die is cast. The people that are responsible are on Wall Street.
And they don't look like criminals. It's almost a suspension of disbelief. Sometimes I'll have people call me and say, is this real? Do they really get away with this? Yeah, they do.